That's a good logo.
Thank you.
How has Florida State changed? Under Leonard, they were, very physical, full court pressing team, more defense than offense. How have they changed under the new head men there?
Yeah, Luke's doing a great job. I think they're playing with a lot of purpose. They're taking a lot of the kind of NBA mentality. They're trying to play fast. They're playing in transition a lot. They're shooting a lot of threes. I know that's a goal for them to get a lot of attempts up. They don't settle for any mid-range jumpers. They're trying to get pressure on the rim. And then defensively, they're just switching defenses quite a bit. So I think, just trying to keep teams on their toes, create a little bit of chaos, create some turnovers that'll give them transition. But, yeah, I think, first of all, they're really good. I think they did a good job kind of putting this roster together. They're really old. They start 5 seniors. Then they have some good young guys that come in. And they play, like I said, they play with good purpose. They're shooting a lot of threes. They're trying to spread you out.
The size they have in the backcourt, just how much of a challenge is that for Boogie and Xavier and Irby as well?
Yeah, I mean, listen, every good team we play is going to have some size and some physicality in the backcourt. I think so. Challenge for them, definitely. McCray is a really, really good player, really good in the ball screen, and we're going to have to keep pressure on him and not allow him to get comfortable. But definitely, the talent across the way. Like, there's going to be some good challenges for all our guys that way.
You saw them, they shot 47 threes the other night. Have you ever seen that before? Just the challenge of running them off the three-point line in this contest?
Yeah, I mean, I think when teams are trying that hard to get threes up, there's a fine line between doing everything you can to take those threes away, and making them difficult. I think there's, similar to North Florida, the team we played last week, like they're going to get their threes up. You got to do what you can to try and not allow them to be catch and shoots and be comfortable shots, within their offense where they know they're coming. And I think that's going to be the big challenge. I think they're going to get some up. We got to make sure they're difficult. We got to make sure they're off the dribble. We got to make sure they're not the ones that they're really hunting. And if we do that, we'll give ourselves a better chance to win.
What do you think this rivalry kind of means? I know it's Florida State, Florida football goes back a lot longer, but what does it mean, and was it important to you on some level to maybe kind of get control of it again? Because they'd won a bunch in a row kind of right before you got in here.
Yeah, any rivalry, probably matters a little more to everybody outside of the program. Mm-hmm. For us, one of the things that we try to do is attack every game with the same kind of veracity and the same mentality, regardless of who we're playing. So we have a lot of respect for them. We're going to try to approach this game just like we would any other, though, in terms of our preparation and making, competing the right way. But yeah, I mean, you play a team like Florida State, in-state rival, everything you got, to continue to win this battle. Unfortunately, we have 3 times in a row.
Walter had some extra motivation against these guys.
What's that?
Walter had some extra motivation against these guys.
Yeah, he wasn't a huge Florida State fan.
You mentioned NBA mentality. What is that? Three-pointer or 3-footer? Is that? Really
Yeah, basically. I think they're trying to play with pace. They're trying to really just spread you out, and they don't settle. And so I think that's something that we've been really mindful of watching them. We've seen them play 4 times this year between their Alabama exhibition. They played FAMU in an exhibition, Alcorn and Alabama State. So we have some tape on them. We have a pretty good understanding of what they want to do, and they're talented. They shoot it really well, and we got to be in their hip pocket, especially when some of those really good 3-point shooters get their catches.
You said Alabama. Would you compare the way they play to the way Alabama does?
Yeah, I would. Very similar offensive mentality for sure.
It's going to take to get Ruben going a little bit quicker.
What do you mean by get him going?
I just think Micah's been kind of given more production and less minutes. Ruben's kind of had. I mean, it was a solid night against North Florida, but just getting the rebounds, more active in the paint kind of thing.
Yeah, I thought he didn't rebound well enough against Arizona. I thought he was fine against North Florida. Mike has played at an elite level, so I wouldn't necessarily hold that against Ruben. I think Ruben's done a good job. He will continue to get better as the year goes on. And we need those two specifically, but yeah, we need Ruben to be an impact guy, when he steps on the floor. But a lot of the value that we see and that we value with Ruben doesn't necessarily show up on the box score every game. He's a paint presence. He does a great job kind of patrolling and protecting other guys on the defensive end and creating opportunities for his teammates on offense. And as long as he's doing that, he's going to be really impactful in helping us win.
When Micah was here his first year, he didn't have Ruben to go against in practice, and then last year Ruben didn't have Micah to go against until late in the year. What has it been like, those two just banging heads all off season, just that iron sharpens iron kind of mentality at center.
Yeah, I think it's really helped both of those guys. For that reason, there's no days where they can come in and give it anything less than their best and get away with it. They're both really talented, both starting caliber players, and to their credit, and Mike has been really unselfish. He's been playing on the backup team in practice and being a leader that way. I think it's given him a lot of confidence because he's been able to go and be more of a higher usage player on that side, and then coming over and kind of finding his way. But Mike is coming into the game against backups most of the time.
Sure.
And so I think maybe some of that production is because of that a little bit advantage for him. But they're both. Listen, we need both those guys to play really well. The way our team is built, and I expect them both to the rest of the way.
Somebody pointed out to me that Boogie's averaging 1.27 points per possession or something.
Yeah.
Which
our team when he's on the floor.
Oh, okay, yeah. So he's, excuse me.
Yeah.
But they were pointing out that's pretty elite, and then he was talking about the lack of turnovers. Are people going to kind of have to, including myself, adjust like the way they see like him playing versus like what Walt was doing, who maybe turned it over a little bit more, but was such a dynamic shot maker, and it was just a different way for you to get production out of that position.
Yeah, comparison is the thief of joy.
That's right.
And I think that's something that as a coach you got to be really mindful of. The perimeter we lost last year was elite. Obviously, you see Will Richard out there looking like a veteran, playing in the NBA. Walt's doing a great job. Elijah had a big-time game in the G League. Like, these guys are really good. We knew that, the guys coming in, we think they're great players. They're different, though, and it's going to take a little bit of time. And so, for me, when my point guard plays, 50 whatever minutes in his first 2 college games without a turnover, like, it's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we can all get behind and celebrate. I think the shooting will come as long as he takes the right shots, and that is for Boog and for the rest of the team. I'm looking at our first 2 games, and I thought we took some quick ones against Arizona that were probably not the type of high percentage shots we want. I thought we took great shots against North Florida. We didn't shoot a high percentage. It took us a little bit last year to get going shooting the basketball. So as long as we're doing the things that don't require talent, which is defending, rebounding, taking care of the ball, we'll let the other things kind of get sorted out over the next couple of weeks.
Did you get to watch Will's 30-point performance, and have you had a chance to connect with him since then?
Yeah, I watched the first half because once I kind of heard that Steph and Jimmy Butler weren't playing that night, I figured he'd get some good minutes, and he started. They were playing the Blazers, I can't remember who it was, but he was Kings, and they were playing great, and he did awesome. Fell asleep at halftime, but last night's another good example. 8:30 start. They're in Indy, and I don't think he played a lot in the first half and finished with like 15 or something. Just another great game, and the thing that we're really proud of in our building is like you watch Steve Kerr talk about Will, and it's like this guy's talking about him like he's an 8-year vet that he can trust, rely upon, and knows he can throw him in the game, calls him a connector of lineups, and that's what we preached to Will for the last 2 years. It's like, this is, playing this way will get you, in a really good spot in the NBA, and it's worked out really well for him. And you got something to add? But he's doing a really good job.
Awesome.
He was kind of a glue guy for you. Do you have a guy like that on this team this year that's kind of like holds everything together? Will was just such a good guy on that.
Yeah, he was. I think we have a number of guys that can do that. Obviously Tommy and Kondo are connectors. They're guys that are really good getting us organized, and we need some guys on the bench to step up a little bit that way. I think we have guys that are capable. They just haven't done it quite yet.
In terms of getting it going from beyond the arc too, I mean, you mentioned last year that it was a little bit of struggle the first couple games. Is that like just beginning of season jitters, or is it fair to make that comparison?
Well, we did struggle shooting at the beginning of last year, so yeah, that's fair to make it. I don't know if it's beginning of the year jitters, just kind of getting comfortable, whatever it is. But all we're going to do is study the shots that we take and see how, we feel they are in terms of coming out of our offense, or, rush shots or good shots. And again, against North Florida, we shot it really poorly from the perimeter, but I thought we took a lot of really good shots. And, at times, 3-point shots are volatile. It's why a big part of our offense is getting on the glass and trying to be efficient from 2, because we don't want to be a team that relies upon making threes to be as good as we can be. And I think we will be the type of team that when we shoot it well, we're going to be really, really hard to beat. So, I think that's, again, an area that we'll get better here over the next week or two. And, if we don't, then we'll continue to adjust and figure out a way to get better that way.
For Micah too, I mean, when do you think that he really found his footing? Obviously, last year he was thrown into the fire at the tail end of the year and stepped up majorly. I mean, it seems like a full offseason under his belt has really helped him out.
100%. I think he's in great shape. I think he came back and, definitely was an integral part in us winning a national championship. But coming off the bench, playing limited minutes, came back this summer and just worked incredibly hard. Spent 7-8 weeks getting in great shape. And I think that's the biggest thing for Micah. What makes him so good is his IQ, his feel, his ability to be in the right place at the right time, make others better. And then being able to play, in extended periods. I think for both him and Ruben, we want them playing 3 to 4 minutes at a time incredibly hard. And if we can do that, we feel like we'll wear down the opponent in the front court.
29 offensive boards, it's tough to do that against air.
Yeah.
Do you think that given the makeup of this team with the 3 big guys starting, that's maybe a starting point, that they could break that record again moving forward?
Well, we got to miss a lot to get that many, probably. So
All right, that's fair.
my hope is that we maybe, percentage-wise, I think we got 63 or 64% back.
Wow.
But yeah, that's got to be a big part of who we are. Like, we're playing bigger, and I think we're more athletic than a lot of people in the front court, and so we got to create second and third chance opportunities. We're not going to be a perfect offensive team. So, if we continue to do that, I think we'll be pretty. Like against North Florida, granted, obviously opponent that we expect to beat, but we I think 5 or 6 for 32 from 3, and we still scored 104 points. So when we shoot it well, I anticipate us being more efficient that way. But a way to keep our efficiency from getting too low is getting second chance opportunities.
You mentioned 63, 64%. Can you recall other games you guys have had here where you had that high of a rate on
Offense rebounds?
Yeah.
No,
what would be the percentage prior to that you think would have been the
we
highest?
probably got above 50 once or twice last year, but
Wow.
we averaged, I think, right around 40, which was
Okay.
top 5 in the country. Anything north of that, you're doing really, really well. So I think, our goal is to be around that 40% range.
What would
awesome.
coaches versus media be?
What's that?
What would coaches versus media be?
Maybe we might have to find out.
Let's do it,
So
man. We
Isaiah
wanted to do
Brown,
it.
What did you think the minutes? And he was
Thought he played
extremely
well.
productive.
Thought he
in a
played well.
short amount.
Yeah. Thought he played well, got on the glass.
100%.
He's, again, fighting for those kind of backup minutes right now, and there's still a lot of opportunity there to be taken. So a guy that we know is capable and get to the point where we hope we can lean on him here, for an extended period of time over the next couple of weeks.
Is it oversimplifying to say contrast to styles this game tomorrow night? You guys are.
I think it's a
kind of-
little oversimplifying because I
Yeah,
think we
please.
both want to play fast offensively. I think we want to be a little more organized than they do. I think they want it to be a little more chaotic. And I think that's going to be a big part of it is, are we going to be able to play fast offensively and then slow them down defensively?
It's kind of drastic compared to what Ray Leonard played. He wanted to muck it up.
Yeah, they play similar defensively, I'd say, but yeah, more organized. When I say more organized, like with more of a plan and a style offensively, for sure.
How close are you to finding a rotation? I know you like to 8 guys, maybe 9 at the most.
Yeah.
How close are you to finding your rotation?
I think we're close. I think, we got some guys that we're going to count on that haven't played as well as they're capable, so we'll give those guys some time to figure it out. But I feel really good about our top 7, top 8. Like, we need a couple of those guys to play better, but I trust and believe in them, and we need a couple more guys to step up so we can lean on them if we need them.
You guys bring in officials for every season. Just what were some of the discussions that they talked to the team about when it came to like speeding up games a little bit, going as not as long as they had in the past, taking 2.5 hours? What was that, and how can that benefit you in a sense?
I'm not sure how it can benefit. I think, they've definitely made a point of emphasis on trying to speed the game up. I think the timeout clocks and getting teams in and out of huddles quicker. Obviously, the challenge rule, they changed because there was some confusion on, when the refs should or shouldn't go check the monitor last year, and there was a lot of debate on that. Now it's simplified, so we don't have any of those conversations. And I think it's good, for the sport. We don't need to be playing, 2-hour and 45-minute games. I think everybody benefits with that number getting closer to 2.
Good for the media.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah.
Hey, thank
Yep.
you for coming in.